Hey, listen up. We got another episode of Wise Kracks, featuring the Krack man himself, Bill Krackenberger, and our co-host, John Orlando, straight from Las Vegas. Wise Kracks is your ticket inside the world of sports betting, with tips, picks, special guests, and more. Only on WSN.com.
We are back, everybody, and I'm in a really good mood for obvious reasons. The hat's a dead giveaway, but we'll get to that in a minute. But more importantly, Bill Krackenberger is in the hot seat tonight. Today.
I don't know about hot seat.
No.
Yeah, we're here.
It's just we're hot. Gambling's on fire right now. No?
Yeah, this is the time of the year, man.
Yeah.
You know,
I feel it.
People actually get out of control this time of year.
I think I'm one of them.
Started. You have NBA,
Yep.
NFL,
Yep.
college football,
Hockey, too.
hockey.
Yeah.
You have a UFC, of course, all going year round. You have so many choices of things to make on a weekend and stuff. It gets confusing, and people just start overbetting their bankrolls constantly. It's a real tough time of the year for people to maintain control.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Because there's just extra options on the board,
You
right?
have to have those skill sets, and you have to know what you've done wrong over the years. In other words, that always shocks me. People do the same thing over and over again, expecting a different outcome. And you just think back to previous years and what you have to set goals for yourself and abide by them.
Yeah.
Stay to them. Stay within yourself. If you're going to bet 2 games or 3 games for the day, don't bet a 4th one just because you lost 2 out of 3 earlier.
Right.
Just because it's on TV at night. Yeah, but that always gets them.
And is there something to be said about like that, the emotional when you've lost a couple games? It is good to take like 24 hours or whatever just to kind of cool off and not make those impulses.
There's always games tomorrow.
Right.
There's always games tomorrow. There's better opportunities. You're just going by a gut feel or something just because the gut feel is only based on you earlier losing.
Right.
You know, so it happens all the time. And the NBA, these kids get caught up in it a lot. They think that they've watched. They've grown up on Shaq and Kobe and now LeBron and the new guy. Oh, I watch this on ESPN. They're having sports betting in my state this year.
Right.
Ooh, this should be easy.
Right.
Yeah, until they're tapping out credit cards, robbing mom and dad's toaster.
Yeah.
Hawking it.
And it works both ways. The don't bet when you're losing just to impulse and get even. And same thing when you win. You don't have to follow it up with a bet. You don't have to bet the late game because you won in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, they figured that because then your mind takes over. Oh, I want to. I'm hot. Hot.
And what are your thoughts on house money? Well, this is actually a fun subject now.
Yeah.
House money. Do you look at it like that? Like,
Never.
you don't, right?
It's your
Like
money.
once they give it to you, once you win it, it's your money.
Great line, great movie. You've probably never seen it. Maybe you did. You'll impress me if you've seen this.
What movie?
Danny Aiello, 29th Street.
Great movie.
Oh, my God. Your stock went up.
I love Danny Aiello, though.
Me too. I've been with him a couple times. I
Great
was so upset
movie.
when he died.
Oh.
I was with him. Had some good conversations with Danny over the years, multiple
Really?
times. Yeah.
Good friend of Tony O's.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. He
Yeah.
was upset when he died last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he was a really good guy. I met him at a pool hall the first time with Jerry Orbach. Used to be on Law and Order.
Sure.
And then and I love Jerry Orbach. Great stage and screen presence, and I love Danny from that movie. And Danny had his own show on CBS called Della Ventura for one season, which I loved.
Oh, that I never saw.
Loved it, and got to talk to him a couple times. Then I went to a couple of the Teddy Atlas charity dinners, and he was always there every year. Got some great conversations.
How about if I told
with
you I went to the 29th Street premiere
You're
in
kidding
LA?
me.
How about that?
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Great line. Going back to the reason why I said the movie.
Yeah.
So Danny Aiello, the kid, he asked the kid, he's a degenerate gambler his whole life. So he asked his son, he says, Frankie, I need you to be my partner tonight. I need 400. The kid says, no, not again, Dad. He goes, no, you be my partner. I feel it tonight. I got a horse. And he said, come on. I need money. He's out of work and he talks the kid into getting the money, and the kid's going upstairs and he's going real slow, banging the step. Frankie, it's in your left sock drawer. The first sock to the left. He knew where the kid's money was and everything. So he gets the 400 out. He hits the horse, puts it on a fight, hits the fight. He has the 400 up to 1,100. And he goes to the club and he finds out that my dad had it up to 1,100. Now he couldn't find the father anywhere. He went to the racetrack again, went to the casino, comes home. He's all despondent, unshaven. He's droopy and he's like, I lost 400. He goes, oh, I'm glad you only lost 400, Dad. Give me the rest of the money. I'll hold it. He goes, no, I lost the 400. He goes, no, He goes, I know you had it up to 1,100. He goes, yeah, but that was their money. See, like you're saying, house money. What's their money is their money. It wasn't my money.
Right.
But he said you had their money in your pocket. So leading back to what you're saying, that's not house money. It's in your pocket. So.
That right there to me is what sets you apart from the regular guy, right?
Yeah.
It is though. It's that mentality that the gamblers have is the difference of you treating it like a business and I'll say us over here gambling.
Yeah.
Right?
That's interesting that you say maybe I'm so into advantage gambling the last 20 years that I forget that. So did I ever think that was their money, or did I ever think that was just part of the bankroll of I just won it, so don't worry, it's free money?
Right.
Wow.
So like if you go
it's free money anyway if you lose.
If you go to Atlantic City, right? You go this weekend, let's say, with $1,000, and you run it up to 10,000.
Yeah.
And then you bet the Monday night game. You feel. I know you don't operate this way. I'm just hypothetically, right? And you bet 10,000 on the game, and it loses.
Right.
You come back to LA, and someone says, "Hey, how'd you do in Atlantic City?" You would say, "I lost 10 grand." Most gamblers would say, I lost 1,000.
Yeah, I lost it. I had it up to 10 grand, but I lost it. In the end, I wound up losing a dime. Oh, not too bad.
Right.
But that's not really what it is. You lost 10 grand that you had in your pocket.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. That's an interesting subject. This is such a spontaneous show, guys.
Anyway, Bill, we have a great show today, okay? I'm really excited about our guest. He's one of the most respected voices in the sports gambling world, other than yourself.
Yeah.
He was the former co-host of Lock It In on Fox, one of the first daily sports gambling shows, which means Fox was really ahead of their time.
Fox had it before ESPN.
Wow.
Yep.
I didn't realize that. And he's also the co-host of a very successful sports betting podcast called Bet the Boards. We're looking forward to having Todd Fuhrman on the show today.
I am looking forward to, I do Todd's podcast. I do a guest segment each and every week, and was real proud to join that this year. We got a lot of nice things, great tips in there. They let me come up with my own content every week. They said, Bill, just give us 2 to 3 minutes of something sharp. And it's amazing. I just sit home and just bang it out in my head, something really good, sometimes giving away too much. They really like what they've heard so far. So, let me tell you about my trip last week. Though.
Yeah, you were...
when I asked you to go
to
the Stones, I wasn't joking. It was a couple feet from Mick. I put a tweet up on Twitter.
I saw.
With some pictures. And, it was exactly what I thought it was going to be. I got these bandhold seats last minute right next to the stage. And up in the front's all these standing pits. But on the sides of the runway is they have seats. And I know that they're going to perform out there. And I was so happy that I seen them a few weeks ago in Charlotte. I sound like a groupie here. And now I'm seeing him in L.A. And Keith, the first one, Keith Richards didn't move. He was just staying there, 78 years old. He's, maybe he wasn't feeling well. This night he came right out, and it was pretty cool, right out in front of me, and Keith and Mick. And, I don't know. I just...
it's iconic.
Yeah, they're iconic. I know it's kind of weird, right? Like, if I had to pick my favorite bands, believe it or not, the Stones isn't number one. Probably more like Pink Floyd. Mm-hmm. Stones are there, but I like every Led Zeppelin. I'm a classic rock guy.
AC/DC or an AC/DC
I see an AC/DC. Oh,
yeah.
Sure. But they're a little too heavy for me now.
Right.
I don't like the heavier music. I say that, but yet yesterday, what do I wind up listening to yesterday? So you would never get. Like, I'd give anyone
Metallica.
Way harder.
Oh
yeah, Tool, and a band called Accept, which was way back in the 80s. Get your balls to the wall. Yeah, nice.
That's what you were listening to yesterday?
I was in a crazy mood. I said, let me put this on. This Tool is just a sick.
So you listen to a lot of music.
I'll listen to anything except for like rap, or even I don't want to listen to country. Though I did take my parents years ago to see Tim McGraw and Faith Hill, and I didn't think I knew any songs. I knew 2 of them.
Yeah.
And I got him backstage, and I couldn't believe how nice that guy was.
So nice. I've met him.
My God.
Super nice. Good actor, too.
Yeah. And I'm so proud of doing that for my parents.
Yeah. She's real nice, too. Did you meet her?
I did. Yeah. But he was... My dad was in a wheelchair, and he actually helped him out of the wheelchair. Take a picture.
You know who his father was, right?
Yeah, Tug.
Okay, yeah. But they weren't close or something, right? There was
I think at the end they were all right,
okay.
though, before Tug died.
Yeah.
But so they were really good. So I'll listen to anything. if I had to pick something, I was going to put a tweet up after the season's in the summer. Let me tell you what the surprise tweet is now. If you had to pick like some things that people don't know about you, if it was about me, you'd be surprised to know that I actually will listen to opera.
Really?
Literally opera from like 1910, 1905. Some opera songs, some really Italian great tenors. You'd be surprised to know that I actually like musicals. Love musicals.
Really?
Love them. Love like
Jersey Boys.
Yes, Jersey Boys is probably one of my tops.
Good.
But
Damn Yankees.
Chicago, Damn Yankees.
Jerry Lewis and Damn Yankees.
Yep.
So good.
Yeah, no, really good stuff. And I love musicals. I like the movies. The movies. Not only Chicago, The Greatest Showman. I thought Hugh Jackman was great in that. I loved that. I liked La La Land. I watched it for the fourth time a couple weeks ago. First time I seen it was just okay. It grew on me a little bit.
Did you ever see Smokey Joe's Cafe?
No.
My dad was in that on Broadway.
Wow, really?
Yeah. Did a guest one.
So the third thing was,
Yeah.
I'm a big cemetery fan.
Wait.
Yeah. I don't want to be in one, but
I hope not.
I'm a big cemetery.
Yeah, just to go and visit. Just
giant. I can spend hours.
Stop it.
By the way, cemeteries that aren't even like I don't know anyone in the cemetery, but
you like reading the headstones?
Old headstones. Love
really?
It. Love going to cemeteries. Oh yeah.
How does one fall into that?
I even from being a kid, I think my grandparents lived next to a cemetery. I used to ride my bike through it all the time and read the headstones. I was 7. So maybe that just came back to me, and I loved going where my parents are buried. I am so fortunate to have that spot. Oh my God, the last time I was there, I was just almost broke down. I was like, wow, do you believe this? Going to the back, winding roads up a mountain, and this beautiful Catholic cemetery that I got them in a mausoleum, and the birds were singing perfectly. It was 75 degrees, and just God made this happen. Coincidentally, my aunts and uncles are around there, but this spot opened up, and I was available to get it. Literally, an underhand softball throw away from my father's, my uncles who played pinochle with him every Friday night. Just coincidentally, though, this wasn't planned. Like my uncle Tommy, my uncle Didi, my uncle Jimmy, they're all there. My uncle Jimmy's not dead yet, but I'm saying that they're all there, and it just was like, wow, look at this. It's perfect. And my cousin Tommy and just everyone there that I really cared for. And I'm so happy that I got that. And anyway, I go through that cemetery a lot, just sit around. And
well, that I get.
That you get.
Right.
But I go to...
just random?
The same cemetery has... Vince Lombardi's in the same cemetery. So Vince Lombardi, great football coach, maybe the greatest of all time.
Packers, right?
Yeah, Green Bay Packers. Yeah, yep. So also go to like one in L.A., like Westwood. I'll go see
Marilyn Monroe, right? Yeah.
And next to Marilyn Monroe is Hugh Hefner, and that cemetery's got some all-time unbelievable. Jerry Lewis, Dean Martin.
I want to say Freddie Prinze.
Dean Martin, Freddie Prinze might be there.
Right?
I don't know. Dean Martin.
So.
I did the whole cemetery. Burt Lancaster. I mean, there's so many.
Right.
Rodney Dangerfield's there.
Right.
It says, "There goes the neighborhood" on his stone.
That's cool.
You know, Jack Lemmon, who I love. Jack Lemmon's there. I mean,
so
Farrah
that
Fawcett.
I get. But like, if you were like randomly in Denver, you might pop in on a.
I have never visited Palm Springs once without going to Frank Sinatra's. Sonny Bono, Frank Sinatra, Dinah Shore.
Dinah Shore.
I just like it. I like doing it. I don't know.
Speaking of Sinatra, do you cue up Sinatra every once in a while?
Love Sinatra.
Okay.
I love it. Are you kidding me?
And when you're listening to this music, are you looking at sports stuff? Is that when are you listening? Or are you just do you sit on the couch and just enjoy the music?
It's unbelievable. I really don't listen to music too much during the season. It's more of a summer thing to me.
Okay.
I listen to podcasts. Even out of the shower, I'll put it on. The Bluetooth in the background. And listen to a couple different podcasts.
Always sports.
Sports, or I'm friends with Gianni Russo. Remember him from The Godfather?
Yeah, of course.
He played Carlo.
Right. Yeah, sure.
So he has a great podcast. So I listened to all his episodes. I'm on like the 80th one now.
Oh wow. Okay.
And been with him a couple times. He's a real character. Has been around forever. But yeah, so that's what I do. Yesterday though, I was on the road and decided to purposely throw something on by Tool, which was really heavy, really deep, heavy stuff. Like you wouldn't believe I know all the words to
like
the
you're
song.
in a bad mood, or you're like
probably. Yeah.
Okay.
To be honest
Sports
with you.
related or
just people let you down.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's what I did yesterday. I think I was kind of, I think that's what it was. And I just put them on and just banged out some crazy music. Yeah.
Interesting.
So.
Many layers to Bill
boy.
Krackenberger. I like it. There's
Yeah.
many layers. Tell me what the stadium was like.
Cool.
Yeah.
SoFi. It's the new stadium there, and I didn't understand what it was. So that now, I guess the Lakers. Maybe you can help me with this.
Yeah.
Did the Lakers used to play in the Felt Forum? Was that them?
In the Forum.
The Forum.
Yep.
Is it called the Felt Forum or just a Forum?
Back then, it was the Great Western Forum.
Okay, I'm
back
sorry.
then.
I don't know what the Felt Forum.
Because that's maybe not. That might be the sponsor now.
Yeah.
Maybe.
No. So the Lakers played there.
Yep.
They made me park there. So
Yep.
I had to park across the street, which I didn't know. Felt Forum was New York City. So they made me park there.
Yep.
And it was I should have prepared for the parking more. God, I walked 4 miles that day.
Ooh.
On my phone. I seen the steps. I was like, God, I knew I was hurting. So
do you realize what used to be where that stadium, where SoFi is?
Hollywood Park.
Hollywood Race.
Yeah, I've never
Hollywood
been
Park
there.
Racetrack.
But someone said that.
Yeah.
But they built the most advanced, unbelievable, sophisticated kind of stadium, man. It's really sharp.
Everyone tells me that's been to there and
Yeah.
Allegiant that
Yeah.
it crushes Allegiant.
Oh,
is
wow.
that true?
Well, I really didn't. I walked in and kind of just went to my seat, but I seen that you could see the shape of the place and the seats, and it was really it looks really cool. But yeah, so it's everyone's
$5
pumped up
billion.
for it there. Jesus, that's amazing what you could do with numbers. So. $5 billion stadium. Yeah, so it was a good time though, man. I went to the show and I took the missus, which I wasn't planning to do because we have a dog.
Right.
So we were worried about what we were going to do with the dog for the night, and got to drop the dog off at Matt's house, our producer, lawyer, good buddy of mine, one of my best friends.
Oh, so the dog traveled with you. Got
Came
it.
with us.
Okay.
We drove. And
I like that.
That wasn't our plan though, but
Right.
now that we did it,
was nice.
She loved it. She was
Good.
like, "Wow, this is great," But that wasn't the
She'd
plan.
never seen them.
No, she's seen them a couple. We seen them in the first row in Philly. But that's when you had seats in Philadelphia. You could sit down. Now you can't sit no more.
Right.
It's ridiculous. They're standing. We stood for the whole show though.
Did you?
We stood for the whole show. Never sat down. Yeah, I was hurting. We stood for the entire show, and it was just it was great. The seats were great, and that's the trick.
I saw the
buying them
videos that
last
you
minute.
posted. It's unbelievable how selfie you did with him behind you. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, no, it was good. It was a great time, and that's I won't be able to get those seats here in Las Vegas, so that's the reason why. Because by the way, those seats there were seats right by me that were on the Ticketmaster site for $10,000 each.
Wow.
I could literally throw a book of matches and hit it. I mean, it was that 10 feet away. So to get them for like $600 each was a steal.
Wow.
I was so happy. And I stayed at a nice inn, and it was cool, But I'm not a traffic guy, and
LA is crazy.
I probably don't realize how bad it was. I was like telling Matt on the phone, I was like, "This is ridiculous."
It's
and he's
ridiculous.
like, "Bill, this is every day. What do you think?"
It's every day.
Yeah. So,
wow, that's awesome.
yeah, Dodgers.
Yeah, let's talk about my
Speaking
Dodgers.
of LA traffic,
Yes.
I put a tweet up yesterday on Twitter saying about, is this normal? The 8th inning, they were leaving. It was 5-2. What kind of that wouldn't happen in New York.
No chance.
I mean, I don't. First of all, I didn't understand how it holds 56,000 and only 51 were there. 5,000 seats empty on a pennant.
Yeah. Day game.
This
It's
wouldn't
a
happen.
day game.
Yeah, but day game in New York selling
Play
out.
hooky. Right. Yeah.
I've only seen this though in LA and in Florida. I've been to Tampa. I've been to where the Marlins play. They really aren't really into their sports. It looks like in LA they're not really into their sports at all. They go there for the Instagram pictures.
LA's
and
fair
then
weathered.
Go head out to the Laker game last night for the Instagram pictures.
Yep.
That's the reason why you're there.
I agree.
I would never live there.
They're not true fans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No interest.
But what a game, huh? I was getting texts from friends. I have a lot of Giants fans as friends, so they can't wait to text me. Even though the Giants are out of it.
They're out of it though. Yeah.
And got eliminated by the Dodgers. They still can't wait to text me when the Dodgers are losing every step of the way now in the postseason.
Could have taken 18-1, by the way, on the Dodgers in the top of the 8th inning.
Man,
Top of the 8th before it started, 18-1 was the best line on the dog there. So
I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know how I wasn't all over that because I showed you a text before we started. My friend was sending me a thing saying, "Oh, they're in trouble. Oh well." And I even said, "What are you talking about? This is the Dodgers. We could put up a 5 spot in any inning."
Yeah.
And they put up a 4 spot with the help of Cody Bellinger blasting a ball almost head high.
And then the ninth inning was all adrenaline. What, did he strike out the side?
Kenley struck out the side. I should publicly apologize to Kenley Jansen because I've been very hard on him for 3 years on social media because, obviously he's a legendary closer. He was great early in his career, but this last 3-4 years, he's made me nuts. He's blown a lot of saves.
And he came in yesterday, and that
not only did he come in yesterday, if I'm being fair to Kenley, as I should be because I've been hard on Kenley, this postseason has been lights out. I want to say, don't quote me, Bill. I want to say he has struck out 11 of 16 or 17 batters he's faced in the postseason.
Right.
He struck out more than half the people he's faced.
It's unbelievable. So, yeah. So it's the old whatever John Orlando says and does, the opposite way works. Sorry.
Although I did predict the comeback last night.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I seen your. John showed me before the show.
Yeah.
He was telling his buddy, "Don't worry, they can put up a
they can
5
do it.
spot," and they put up a 4 spot to go ahead. NFL last week. So last week's Monday night game, the Eagles they went for 2, and by them going for 2, the final score was 28-22. The Bucks. And that was the spread. The spread on the game was 6.5. There were some 7s. So it would have been bad for this town if it landed on 7. This was it Thursday or Monday? I think it was. What day did I go to the show? Anyway, it was an interesting game that it might have been Thursday night. So it was interesting that this situation would happen, though, that was the spread. And going for the 2 at the end of the game, people say, how can you go for 2? Why don't you make it a 7-point game? There's some analytics now that say go for the 2 before. This way, the next one you could just automatically win the game with a touchdown. It's an interesting in analytics thing. Let's talk about the weekend, though. The books. All these bookmakers on Twitter crying. They aggravate me. Go on there crying. It's almost making fun of the public when you do that.
Right.
So you're going to go on Twitter and you're going to say, oh my God, I got to answer now to my stockholders and the bosses upstairs who don't understand variance, which they don't. I understand a little bit by the bookmakers sometimes getting upset because these guys have to realize that upstairs that you can lose. It's gambling.
Right. You're not going to win every single time.
No, but they expect everyone to lose every week. So, but I just got upset when I seen a couple of the bookmakers on talking about how much money they lost on Sunday, and everyone lost to bet money line parlays and the favorites and anyway, So these money line parlays with these favorites and it hurts the book, but overall, the books are going to get the money in the end. They still have parlay cards. They have teasers. They have sucker bets. They have people teasing totals, people teasing college football. Give me a break, guys. And give me a break crying like this. It's ridiculous.
It's like Robert De Niro in Casino, right? In the end, we get it all.
In the end, we get it all. When they say this is the end result of the comps, the PIP, the brews, the bars, this is the end result.
Yeah.
So give me a break. Monday night, the Bills and Titans. I seen one guy come on talking about, oh man, we got killed yesterday and everyone's on the Bills again today and we're really going to get hurt if the Bills win today. Well, then move the line. They were 6. Move the line to 6.5. Stations had 6.5 here in town. South Point had 6.5 here in town. Move to 6.5 then. If you're so worried about, oh my God, they're going to beat us so bad tonight, just move your line. Induce action the other way. Don't cry about it on Twitter. Give me a break. Give me a break. So, sure enough, the Titans' money line here was plus 235 in town. The offshore line, the sharper line, I seen plus 208. It was a real good grab here. Yeah. Plus 235. Of course, it's a good grab because of what happened at the end of the game. But even the 6.5 points that was here in town, those extra half points living in this town, you can grab them where the offshore world was all 6. Right, right. Some sports books were begging for bets on the favorite at the end. Plus 6 minus 15 was one of the really sharp sports books I follow offshore. Like I said, sometimes you get lucky just living in a town with a square population and guys betting the favorites, and especially after all the favorites come out Sunday, all the money lines, easy win. People went right back to the Monday night favorites, and sure enough, the books get the money. So. A little cheese with that wine, please.
What do you think of my Cowboys? The Cowboys are for real, Bill Krackenberger?
Cowboys, they came back in overtime and won that game, right? Versus the Pats. Did they win by 6?
Scored a touchdown, yeah.
Yeah, they won by 6 in that game.
Yeah.
That's another one that hurt the books, too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, hurt the books. No, they're for real. They're for real. So some people don't think they are, though. I had a discussion about that, actually. Some people don't think they are, but there's no one else in that division.
Do you have any futures for NFL this year for Super Bowl or no?
For Super Bowl, I have a couple things I bet over under season wins, but
you have that one friend that bet on Carolina or something, right?
Yeah, he looked good when they were 3-0.
Yeah.
The party's over now.
All right, Bill, it's that time to bring in our guest. We got a good one this week, thanks to you. We've got the former Las Vegas odds maker. He's the co-founder and host of the popular sports betting podcast, Bet the Board. It can be heard on a variety of Fox Sports radio programs all over the country. He also co-hosts the Bet the Board pregame show that you catch every Friday. I hear it's a great show. It's actually highlighted by a guest spot with a guy that wears, a nice little black Kangol all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's you. It's
right.
you. He's on there with you. You're on there with him.
I'm on
Who
there
are you
with him.
kidding? Yeah. Anyway, welcome to the show. Todd Fuhrman, welcome to Wise Kracks. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you guys for having me. And let me be the first one to say, Bill, it's a lot better interacting with you this way instead of me being a little wet behind the ears, having to take your action behind the counter at Caesars back in the day when they were scared to give anybody that half a brain cell more than a nickel when it came to college basketball totals and such.
Wow, yeah. No, they were the good old days. I have to tell you, though, 2 seasons ago, you'll be proud. You'll be happy to know this. So I went there overnight. And I bet a $2,000. It's funny. I only did this twice. One time I lost, but then the other time I bet a $2,000 round robin 4 teams overnight. That, of course, I knew the next day was going to be very good bets because normally a round robin's a sucker bet. So overnight bet, my 7-star card, $2,000, and I won $84,000 on that.
Whoa.
And like. Just coincidentally, I mean, I did it once, I lost it. Another time I won, and I never bet it again with them because that was like, oh my, how did this happen? How did you guys like Krackenberger bet this at nighttime? And so anyway, yeah, so that happened there, and I love when I get to do something like that. It just. It's the money, of course it is, but it's the high of watching the executives the next day, the guys that run the sports books that you can't even fit a little tiny green pea up their rear ends because they're so tight and scared to death. So, sorry.
Hey, I mean, I can only be so critical. I mean, I came from that bean counter background. I mean, I broke into the industry, crunching the numbers behind the scenes before, Chuck Esposito extended the offer to come down to the sports book, learned quite a bit from him. Before he left to kind of take over Fontainebleau. And I know, unfortunately, that project never got off the ground. But I don't have such kind things to say about one other gentleman who I'm not even sure we should share his name, but we can use his initials at HG. He didn't quite teach me a whole lot about the best way to try and book and learn from some of the sharper guys on the other side of the counter.
Yeah, that's interesting. I have my own opinions of a couple guys, and one you mentioned that I'll just leave to myself. So, just no big deal. But it just sometimes it shocks me in this industry. If I was a bookmaker, I'd want all the action. I'd want to know what Bill Krackenberger was on, even if it's just for a nickel. I want to know what you're on. I want to overmove the line. And if I'm a winning sports bettor that you say I am, I want to put the customers on the other side of that line. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's an old school way of thinking. Maybe it's, like I said, maybe it's just book everybody and know where your customer base is. And if you have a couple sharps in there to sharpen up your line, but a couple books in this town like William Hill and Stations and stuff, they just don't want to take me. They're just not only me. They don't want to take. I'll say William Hill doesn't want to take 1,000 people. It's unbelievable how fast they were to throw people out. I think they're a little bit different now. I think with the new Caesars taking over, it might be a little bit different, but it might not be too. I know I'm not allowed to play.
Yeah, it's honestly a little bit of a different dynamic there. One of the guys that took over risk management, one of the sharper guys I know in the space, and I do have to give him credit because I work closely with him. We were both employed by Don Best. He helped come up with the in-play algorithm there. So Caesars, no doubt, I think you'll see them go through a little bit of a change in terms of their appetite for risk. But I think when you talk about liquidity, I mean, there should be a willingness from bookmakers. If you know who your sharpest customers are, take a nickel, take a dime, move aggressively, see if you can get a little bit of buyback, more so than just staying scared and going, we're going to bury our head in the clouds and pretend that we don't know this stuff actually exists. And one of the things that used to crack me up during my time behind the counter, the running joke was that we could take a 5-figure bet, but we wouldn't move the number at Caesars. We would take a 5-figure bet and stay the same. But if MGM took a big bet and they started moving on the screen, we were more apt to move on somebody else's action than the stuff that we saw there. And that was just an appetite for risk.
Wow.
And sometimes it's those bad habits that get ingrained in some of the young bookmakers that are there. And I think it's a big reason why you've seen an exodus of some of the sharpest guys go from behind the counter trying to beat the numbers. And maybe we get back to that old school way. And, some of the guys that you were exposed to, Bill, that really knew what they were doing. They were bettors, but they were also bookmakers, and they combined the best of both worlds.
Wow. That's really cool. Really cool.
I have a question for both of you.
Sure.
Todd, I'll start with you. It's the same question for both of you. So, like Bill just said, there's probably maybe 1,000 guys that they won't take the action from. Can they tell? Can they tell the difference between, let's say, someone like me who's not an advantage gambler? But if I had a lucky run, like if I just had a lucky run, would they do the same thing to me, or can they tell the difference that I just got lucky where Bill has an advantage? Do they know the difference?
A good bookmaker will, and they're not necessarily even going to look at your wins and losses. They're going to look at your closing line value and where you're betting. If you're typically coming in on a Tuesday and you're taking NFL underdogs +7 that are closing 5.5, and they're only judging the merits of your ability because you've gone 3-7 in your last 10 bets, then they don't deserve to kind of be behind the counter and trying to protect some of the assets that are there, because no doubt that any bettor, regardless of what numbers they're taking, catch a hot streak. I mean, the worst bettors in the world are going to find stretches where they're going 9-1 over a 10-game sample size. And the same thing that the best bettors in the world are going to go 1-9 over a 10-game window. But when you're consistently beating that opening number, that's going to be a much better indicator of your long-term edge that you're going to have over the house. The problem being is so many books, at least the old school way of thinking, is they get blinded by some of those short-term results. And in all honesty, they do themselves a disservice, because that bettor is going to potentially give all of that money back and then some. But if you limit them, you cut them off, you're not even giving yourself a chance to let that 11-10 work in your favor to try and beat up that player over the long haul if you don't think they truly have an edge.
I'll tell you, you can't ask me the question. That's the best explanation you can get.
Spot on.
I mean, I would have had maybe a few choice words that were a little bit more harsh. But I mean, you got a couple of these old school antiques that are actually throwing out guys that are literally a losing better lifetime.
Right.
But they went on a streak. And, let's just get rid of him. He's too lucky. I mean,
Krack will be the first one to tell you want me betting at your casino.
Yeah. You want a guy with a big trust fund like John that comes in every week and just like unloads the trust fund every week. Yeah. But however, if John there's still books in this town that if John Orlando gets lucky, you'll be shocked to know that you'll be limited.
Really?
Yes, you get lucky and you win 100
because I like my parlays.
You get lucky, start winning a couple of those money line parlays and the garbage that you put in. You'll see that you would be not the Circas and the. I'm talking about some of the other books in town that I mentioned earlier. You'd be shocked to know that they say, "Well, listen, John, I'll tell you this too. If you get lucky in craps and win 10 times in a row, you'd be shocked to know what happens to you."
Really?
Yes. Old school casino mentality. I don't know what he's doing, but he must be doing something. He's winning. I know a director of marketing that was the head of Treasure Island that worked for Phil Ruffin for a long time. He told that the head of he told someone I know who was a casino host there. He said, "Listen, this Krackenberger's coming in. He's actually trying to win. We don't want him. Don't be booking. I'm not allowed to play blackjack there. I'm not allowed to play anything there." Now I find out this past week, 2 weeks ago, I'm not allowed to play anything in the casino at all.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to gamble.
Not even Keno.
No, I can't play Keno with a 25% house edge because I must know something.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway.
Bill, if you came in and fired blackjack like Charles Barkley, I think everybody'd roll out the red carpet. You'd be on private jets, going all over the country to try and be able to give up a 3% advantage in blackjack or something along those lines. So
Yep.
It's honestly amazing. I mean, and that's kind of the area of the business that I broke in on, doing some of the table game analytics, looking at the profitability for how we needed to align the casino floor from blackjack to where our roulette tables needed to be, some of the carnival derivatives. And unfortunately, I say my lasting legacy from my time at Caesars will be one of the suits coming up with 6-5 blackjack. Is what we found, honestly, when we studied player profiles. Customers wanted a blackjack game with lower limits more so than they wanted advantage rules. They were more apt to sit down at a $10 table where they know their money wasn't going to last than play a $25 blackjack game where the rules actually were going to level that house advantage a little bit more than you would find elsewhere. So it's always boggling the mind in terms of customer profiling and some of the folks that are out there actually looking for that true edge versus some of the folks like you guys referenced that just want to come to Vegas. They want to be here for a 72-hour bender, and all they care about is going home, telling their friends that, they bet $500 at blackjack. It lasted 2.5 hours, and they had no expectations of coming home with any of that gambling bankroll, and they're still in their wallets.
Wow, that's interesting. I didn't know you did that. You did that. So tell us a little bit about that. Did you grow up in Chicago? I read. Is that correct?
Yep. Born and raised in the Chicago suburbs. Although if you look behind me, I grew up a New York sports fan across the board because that's where my old man's from.
Right.
So it was Yankees, Knicks, Rangers, and Giants. And let me tell you, boys, it wasn't exactly the easiest thing to grow up as a Knicks fan in Chicago in the 1990s.
Oh, my God. I can't even imagine.
NBA championship after NBA championship after NBA championship. But, I kind of had the gambling bug early on. I mean, my old man was always in the financial markets. And so when I was younger, I used to go to hockey practice early in the morning on Saturdays or Sundays. He'd flip me, the Tribune or the Sun Times, and we go back and forth, betting $1 a game. He'd pick a side, I'd pick a game. And then he taught me the valuable lesson. Well, I'm going to let you pick all the games so you feel like you have an edge, and wanted to be the house. And that was kind of the first introduction that I'd ever had to sports betting, albeit in a limited capacity. Fast forward to coming out to Vegas after I graduated from school. And, as both of you guys know, it's tough to break into the industry as a ticket writer, making a few dollars an hour to be able to pay off student loans or things along those lines. So I started working in the analytics team, trying to figure out ways to help the casinos be a little bit more profitable, from food and beverage to table games to slot tournaments, you name it. We were crunching numbers on everything, but sports had always been my passion. And I'm thankful to this very day that, a guy like Chuck Esposito took a liking to me, taught me the business on the weekends, and I was able to gradually work my way into the sports space, never once imagining that sports betting would take off in this level of popularity. Here we are 15 years later or so.
So what year did you leave there, Todd? What year did you leave Caesars?
So I want to say I was there till 2012, maybe 2011. It was basically right before a football season. I kind of reached the end of my rope and went, what the hell with it? I'm not advancing from a career standpoint. I tried to pitch them a number of ideas, and I got the same runaround that I think a lot of people behind the counter always got. It's 4% of GGR. It's an amenity. We're never going to be able to pay you. And I went, I don't believe that sports betting is always going to be an ancillary revenue stream. When you looked around the world, was able to get a consulting gig with the folks at Don Best, and the rest was kind of history. I love being able to do some of the video content, help them with some of their in-play stuff, and begin to try and cultivate, a B2C product platform where we were doing videos. Some of the guys well, Bill, like Brian Blessing or Kenny White, and folks who would come before me to establish the foundation. And again, never would have imagined, 7-8 years later, a repeal of PASPA. Suddenly everyone wants sports betting content, and it's all former athletes or fly-by-night guys that masquerade as experts, despite never having placed a single bet in their entire lives.
Cool. John, what do you got?
I don't know if this is true, but I read you were voted in high school most likely to become a bookie. Is that really true? Were you taking kids' lunch money?
And let me tell you, going to a school, a small boarding school in New England, where I was the kid from the other side of the tracks, grew up middle class in Chicago, didn't have a trust fund. My folks weren't, CEO and CFO of Fortune 500 companies. All these kids whose parents were involved in Wall Street, they had the stock club. And so you'd have to go through and you'd figure out whose stocks were going to do the best. And I went, the hell with this. I'm going into the headmaster and I'm going to try and pitch the sports betting club. I go, this is an investable asset class like everything else. He looked at me like I had 3 eyes and goes, absolutely not. I cannot condone this kind of activity in any capacity. But the senior superlative stuck. And I guess even then, some of my classmates identified the career path that I was most likely to go down. And lo and behold, here we are, roughly 20 years later.
I love it.
That's great.
I love it.
So, Todd, tell us a little bit about what you're involved in now. What are you up to now? What's the show you had? Tell all the listeners and the viewers what show you have here now. I'm a guest on it every week. I love it. It's not a lot of loudmouths. That's what I like. Who don't bet their own money. They're in the know. They've been around. Look at just his history. What he said. Tell everyone what you're doing.
Yeah, the Bet the Board podcast started, I want to say 6 years ago with a professional bettor, goes by Payne Insider, who I know you know real well, Bill, along with the team there. And we kind of started on a whim. We figured, what the hell? We're going to record this thing. We figure nobody's going to listen, but at least it allows us to put out sports betting content that's different than anything else out there. And it went from being one show a week that we recorded on, I think the program was, Go to Meeting, that Payne's dad merged the files for us. It sounded like 2 tin cans. We expanded into 2 days a week for NFL content, then gradually figured the hell with it. Let's do college football. And then this year we took the big step with the pregame show that airs Fridays at noon Eastern on the Bet the Board YouTube channel, and said, we want to do something a little bit different. We've always thought of ourselves as being ahead of the curve, but the only way to try and do it was get some of the sharpest guys in the space to kind of buy into the platform. So, getting you involved, Bill, was absolutely huge to be that voice of reason and share some of the valuable lessons that you do such a great job with on social media. We got Brad Powers, who I know bets into a lot of the world openers for college football. So he shares teams that he's upgrading and downgrading every week. And of course, there's nobody better than Warren Sharp when it comes to some of the advanced analytics for the National Football League and such. So once we were able to land the three of you guys, in addition to some of the content we've done before, we felt it was a much better entry-level vehicle for some of the recreational bettors that were there, and just a fun little project. And, can't thank our partners at FanDuel enough for being able to support us in that endeavor.
That's great. That's great. No, it's a great show, and you won't believe how anal I am about getting those videos right, and some of the ones I've done recently, I really am almost like I want to take a video of that, and I'm going to eventually put some of them on Twitter because they were really good information that I'm giving out there, and to the public, and just trying to help them. It's not always for the sharper bettors, it's for the public. It's not even make them win money, it's going to make them lose less, that's for sure. So that's the purpose and goal. I'm a teacher, so I really feel like I'm my father's son. My father was a world history major, and I just like to teach people about sports betting and try to just make them less of a sucker. I'm working on Orlando over here for a couple of years still, but yeah. So
I was gonna say that sounds like an ongoing process, Bill. It sounds like the education of John, maybe a 10 to 15 year program, and oftentimes people that go to school that long are called doctors. I'm not sure if John's ever going to get to that level, though.
I'm definitely not.
No, John actually though. He holds his own in certain sports, and he likes the UFC, and maybe tends to parlay things together too much. That
I pick winners but make no money. I'm that guy.
He'll win 4 out of 5. Literally, he's come on the show and said, "I've won 4 out of 5 this week, but I lost money." I'm like, it's impossible. Can't.
I find a way, Todd.
I mean, you'd be amazed, John. You're not alone that way. I mean, we joke all the time because people come after us and they go, "You guys are producing content, but you're sponsored by a sports book." And I look people flat in the eye and say, I could give most Americans, Canadians, doesn't matter. I give you one winner a week and go 52-0, and you'd be amazed that 95 to 98% of those people would still find a way to lose money.
Without a doubt.
Because one game wouldn't be enough. They'd parlay it. They tease it. They do everything else under the sun because nobody can seem to handle prosperity in this business.
Yeah.
Cool.
Todd, let me ask you this then. Who are we going to see playing in the World Series this year? What 2 teams are going to advance?
Well, if you'd asked me yesterday in the bottom of the 8th inning, I'd have told you that the team logo that you're wearing on your hat right now was dead and buried. But it always seems when a team, you don't stomp them out when you have the chance, they find a way to get back into the thick of things. But my problem is I'm not sure how the Dodgers will cobble together 27 outs in Game 5. So I was surprised, actually, to see the Dodgers as a $1.30 favorite for the series. I know Urias is a massive favorite, in Game 4. But the reality of it is I still would lean towards the Braves, not real bullish there. And I think Boston's going to get out of the American League. As much as it pains me to say as a Yankee fan through and through, I mean, I kind of joked with a lot of my friends across the country and said, if there were 4 teams that you could handpick that I wouldn't want to win the World Series, these would be the 4 that were left. And here we are. I mean, I'm rooting for that somehow to end in a tie, or maybe we get a strike so you don't have to crown a World Series champion in about 3 weeks.
Yeah, you could take $1.10 here in town on the Braves right now to win the pennant.
Bite your tongue. Don't talk like that.
You get that. That's amazing for a team leading 2-1.
Yeah.
Going to be going back home.
Yeah.
Wow. That's just amazing.
Well, they got 2 more in LA that they're going to lose.
Yeah. Well, then they'll be down.
It's 3-2. Dodgers Red Sox. Book it. Dodgers Red Sox.
Yeah. John sits in. I don't know if you know. John's dad is Tony Orlando. So Tony Orlando's probably before your time.
He's too young. You got to ask. He can't even ask his mom. He has to ask grandma. He has to ask grandma.
So Todd. So anyway, Todd. John sits in like Mary Hart seats behind when it's the regular season. So he's a giant Dodger fan and giant LA fan in general. But anyway, listen, this has been great. We really appreciate having you on and look forward to maybe having you on again. And I'll get Payne on here too because I'm sure his feelings are hurt. So we'll get him on here too. But anyway, thanks a lot. We really appreciate it. Look forward to making the video for you this week and being on your podcast.
Yeah, thank you guys very much for having me. Love what you're doing. I think, Bill, the service that you provide for a lot of entry-level bettors, not only from the sports space, from video poker and the other lessons you're teaching them, we know the casino has a huge mathematical edge. So anything guys like ourselves can do to kind of bridge that gap, allow people their bankrolls to last a little longer, I think goes a long, long way. And last but not least, Bill, I love the addition on your recording setup with the festive Halloween bucket. I do have to ask a question, though, because Payne and I were going to make a little side bet.
Oh.
Is there any candy in that bucket? And if Bill Krackenberger could fill it up, what would be the chosen candy you'd put in that green bucket?
Ooh, you wouldn't believe this. Probably one of the shocking things, by the way, is I really don't care for chocolate. So I don't really care for chocolate. Yeah.
I give up.
I know.
I give up with you.
You could tell, right? I'm not but yeah, so I probably, I say that, but yet we have a great store here that are great chocolates here in town. I can't think of it now. They have big gardens and stuff over in Summerlin, and yet they make a peanut butter chocolate, which peanut butter is I do love peanut butter. So that it would be something peanut butter, Ethel M's it's called, Ethel M's. They make a peanut butter that's fantastic. But yeah, that little Halloween thing there is filled with actually just some like knickknacks I throw in there. I'll throw my I have a couple chains and a couple bracelets, and
There's not even candy?
no, there's no candy, but it's just a nice setting in the background. I'm a big kid. I love things like that. I'm big on Halloween. I'm big on Christmas. I'm big on Thanksgiving. They were really when years ago when my parents were alive, they were giant to me. Not as big now, but back then they were giant thing. I love holidays. I'm a giant kid, so I really appreciate that. That's a fun setting we got there. And yeah, pretty cool. Thanks for asking. In the old days, it would be Kit Kats, though. What about you, Todd? What would be in that bucket for you? What kind of candy?
Honestly, I don't think I have such a disdain for chocolate, but if I have to power rate candies, I mean, my number one would be Sour Patch Kids.
Oh, wow.
Those were always my go-to on the team bus back in the day. And the nice part about Sour Patch Kids, when I was a backup goalie in college, I was able to keep the Sour Patch Kids inside my pad so I can eat them when I was sitting in the penalty box. Whereas you always had to worry about chocolate melting. Sour Patch Kids were the perfect sweet spot. Although my coach did catch me once, and it wasn't a pleasant experience that following Monday in practice.
Oh man, how about you, John?
awesome.
Before we go off,
I'm a gummy bear guy, and I'm a Three Musketeers guy.
oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
That's good because John's a big gym guy. He doesn't. I figured it'd be no candy at
Yeah.
all.
Oh no.
That's good.
Yeah. I'll do it.
All right.
Yeah.
Nothing but protein shakes for John. Fit Crunch bars and everything else along those lines.
I didn't think we were gonna end on a candy talk, but hey,
I like it.
It's a good time to
I
end.
like it. It's
Halloween
appropriate.
coming up in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Thanks, Todd.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you. Wow, that was great. Now, let me ask you, do you remember him at the counter in Caesars back in the day? Is he someone you remember?
I think he was behind the counter. Like he was
Oh,
in the
got
back
it.
room.
Not writing tickets.
Yeah.
I see at that
Yeah.
point. I see.
No,
So
I
he
don't.
knew who you were
Yeah.
even back then.
Yeah, he did, but
Wow.
I didn't know.
You didn't know him?
No.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, a lot of the guys are back there. They all know
Right.
me, but I don't per se know them.
They see you walk in like they're watching on surveillance or something too,
No,
right?
they
Or no?
just no. When I go to the counter, you have to give your card if you bet anything over $100 or $300.
Got it.
They want to know who's betting.
It's interesting. It really
Yeah.
that all those mechanics of
Yeah.
what goes on for guys like you and the advantage players and stuff. It's really very interesting.
Yeah, I've been to Westgate and give my card, and even like Circa and give my card, and the person approving it, he knows it's me. So after it's approved, he'll come out and say, "Hey, Krack, nice to meet you." And
Really?
then I'll realize who he is.
Okay.
I know the name maybe, but Todd's I didn't know. No, I didn't know. He was involved in a lot of things behind the scenes, not only sports, but looks like table games and tournaments and analytics and stuff. So very smart guy.
Yeah, that was really cool. So listen, Krack, NBA just started, which is a good time for me to remind everybody to download. There's no better time to download the Krack Wins app on Apple, Google Play. Go to crackwins.com. NBA, as we talked about earlier in the show, there's a lot of options right now between NBA, NFL, NHL, and you've got,
It's exploded over the last couple of years,
Yeah.
NBA. I mean, everyone just loves NBA betting, and many of these touts have come out of the woodwork, and guys on Twitter come out of, just everyone is just claiming to be experts. It's kind of laughable. I don't mean to. I never really like to down anybody else, but there's so many people that come out with fake names and fake Twitter accounts, and my name's Bill Krackenberger.
Yeah.
So that's my name. That'll be the name on my my headstone too. So, but yeah. So I've been beating NBA for a couple decades now. Totals have been fantastic. The 3 seasons since I've had the Krack Wins app, we've averaged around 65 unit profit per season on totals. It's just it's unbelievable. So. The experience matters with NBA. I think what we do sets us apart from others, and you have to be real disciplined. And like I said, with this NBA, so many games on TV, the late night game, and everyone wants to bet the Lakers are on TV, the late night game. It's just there's a real science of coming up. We do so.
And speaking of the discipline, I have sat next to you in the sports book in Atlantic City. I was holding your iPad, and you said, "Here, give me the pad. I got to put something down. There's a game, there's a line, whatever." And you started looking something up, and you had every intention of placing a bet.
Yeah.
And you didn't like where the line was, and you didn't.
Oh, the line's everything.
Yeah.
The extra half points and stuff are everything. Yeah. I'm not just betting to bet.
Right.
I not because I want action.
And I've seen it firsthand. Like you took the iPad to place a bet and you didn't.
Yeah. No. It's really what I'm about, though. I'm about getting the right numbers and giving out the right numbers and having obtainable lines for the customers and it's been going great. I'm really proud of it. Really happy to be part of it.
That's awesome. And also, I should mention that WSN, your favorite, the sports Bible, I should say.
Yeah.
There's a semi-exclusive bonus to promote. They're promoting the Sports Illustrated sportsbook in Colorado. Sports Illustrated, the magazine, opening a sportsbook. This is like a no-brainer.
I don't really know exactly behind it, but I do know SI Sportsbook. 7,500 in their free bet is 7,500. I'm looking at it right now on WSN.com. If you click on Colorado, I may be flying there for this one.
When you say I,
you can go. Yeah, no, we should.
I'm in.
No, we should. We're getting a $7,500 bet. I mean, Jesus.
Now let me ask you that for strategy wise.
Yeah,
this is what we were talking. I didn't want to bring it up during the pre-show. Does it make sense? The degenerate's going to come out. Okay.
Yeah.
Does it make sense to pick a safe play, or do you just put that 7,500 and find like a dog that you really believe in, a plus 240 dog, because you're free rolling on a big payday?
Mathematically, you're absolutely right. I don't know how you came up with this on your own. No, really. You actually should put it on a dog.
You should, right? Because it's a free shot at crushing the book.
You should put it on a dog. You should put it on a money line or something.
A dog that makes sort of sense.
That makes sort of. Yeah, you're not going to bet something that's plus 3 to 1 or higher, but something maybe 2 to 1. It really is the right thing. I don't know how you come up with this.
Me neither.
I wouldn't talk about this.
I thought you were going to frown upon me.
I wouldn't talk about this because it's more advanced. It's more of a quantitative analytical thing. It's more than advanced than you think. So
I get a gold star today.
You really do. That's amazing. But anyway, it's $7,500 free bet. From Sports Illustrated here, SI. I don't want to say Sports Illustrated, but it's SI Sportsbook, so let's call it what it is.
Yeah.
And also in Colorado, 5,000 risk-free, also on WSN.com from Caesars Sportsbook, 1,000 BetMGM, 1,000 draft. I mean, there's so many things here. DraftKings, 1,000 points bet. Twin Spires, 1,000, which I never heard of them, to be honest with you. But it's on there. It's in Colorado. How about this? Maxim Bet, $1,000 deposit bonus. Maxim Bet. I mean, we got to go to Colorado just to pick up money.
Yeah.
This is free money.
I'm in.
I mean, so...
Who doesn't love free money?
WSN.com. Go there for all your bonuses, and that's all I always talk about. But also the articles, the $600 weekly football contest. Articles are fantastic. There's great prediction articles and sports betting news. Article on New Hampshire, Florida, Connecticut, Georgia, Louisiana, Golden Nugget launching in Virginia. There's so many different articles on your jurisdiction or coming to you and explaining to you what's happening in the industry. I don't know another site that does this. So WSN.com for a lot of things, more than just the bonuses, but I love going there for the bonuses. And Colorado flight's an hour. We got to be doing this.
I'm in.
Yeah.
Before we wrap up, can I give another prediction?
Sure.
I'm still riding the Dodgers. Ride the Dodgers all the way till the wheels fall off. The Dodgers will be playing the Boston Red Sox in the World Series. That's my prediction. I believe the Dodgers will win out right now. It's as we record this, the Dodgers are down 2-1.
Right.
They are going to win the next 3. Dodgers in 6.
Wow.
How about that?
That's a really bold prediction. Because even though they're a big favorite today, the matter of fact, very unusual game today. So I'm on my Don Best screen, which Todd was talking about. I used to work for. This is the Bible in the sports betting world. So Urias pitching for the Dodgers.
Yep.
He's a minus 2 to 1, 220. The other is undecided. You never see that.
Oh, wow. They don't even know who they're
They
throwing.
don't even know who they're throwing. I have probably never seen that.
And you could still bet on the game?
At this late stage, correct. You bet an action bet.
'Cause normally they won't take it,
that's
right?
Right. It's listed pitchers. You're betting here whoever pitches right now. I'm shocked at this. This is a couple hours before the game, and you don't know who's pitching yet?
That's because the Braves understand how important this is. A must. Like, people think this is a must-win for the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Which sure it is.
Yeah.
This is equally a must-win for the Braves because they had a golden opportunity last night.
Yeah.
And, Bellinger hit that 3-run homer, and that changed everything. They could have been up 3-0,
Yep.
and that's a big difference.
Yeah.
Now they know if the Dodgers win this game, you're looking at they got to play one more in Dodger Stadium, one more in L.A., and then go back to Atlanta.
What a fun time. I love playoff baseball.
It's the best.
I love playoff. I'll actually be watching. Usually I don't watch a lot of things.
Yeah.
I watched the Dodger game last night.
Yeah.
I watched people will leave early, like I said. I watched, shaking my head. But I'll watch again tonight. That's actually the later game. The 2:00 game is Houston-Boston, and that's also going pretty good. The Atlanta. I think that no matter who the Dodgers face, if they win these games, they're winning the World Series. Like I bet them earlier.
Yeah,
and I was
believe
really.
it.
I got to tell you, I had my doubts though when they went 1-game series versus San Fran.
Yeah.
I said, "Oh God, I blew my money." I think they're going to win the World Series if they get by Atlanta here.
I totally agree with you. I hope that if they do get by Atlanta, that they are playing the Astros because I got to be honest, the Red Sox make me nervous.
Oh, wow.
We've got two ex-Dodgers on the Red Sox that are on fire. Kike Hernandez is like the MVP of that team right now, and Alex Verdugo is also a former Dodger. That's how we ended up getting Mookie Betts, and it's exciting. I can't wait to see you next week and see who's in.
Best of luck on your bets. We'll catch you next week. Thanks for watching and listening.